Hey guys, welcome to this free Facebook ads training specifically for Shopify dropshipping and e-commerce. I'm really proud to be able to put this together and to keep it free for you guys. Like, there's so much value in here, so much knowledge that you can just apply and really start seeing amazing results with it. Now, before I actually get into it, I just want to show you that I actually do know what I'm talking about, but also I chose to show you this out of the multiple campaigns that I have run and am running, because I want to really put across to you that Facebook ads primarily is about optimizing as you move through stages. Okay, so this is by no means the best campaign that I've ever run, but it is the most recent. So today is the 10th of March. As you can see, this ad set that I'm showing you is from the 8th of March. Okay, now what I really want to show you that I think makes all the difference is, obviously there's a ton of ad sets, and as you can see I'm already cutting some of them, but I want you to look at the purchase ROAS. Okay, as you can see on the 8th of March, which is the first day that I ever ran the campaign, we got about a 0.4 ROAS. Now a lot of people would look at that and say that's not that great. That was on the 8th of March. The next day, the 9th of March, we were able to get a ROAS of 0.66. Okay, so as you can see, just following the strategy and everything that I'm going to give you now, we just increase the ROAS from day to day. And then the very next day, which is today, the 10th of March, we have been able to get a ROAS of 1.31. Now I'm going to get more into depth and how you can calculate it, but the break-even ROAS for this product is about 1.24. So today, just the third day of running this product, we are already in profit. Now, it's not ridiculously high margins, but it's still a profitable product, which as time goes on, we will slowly bring this ROAS up and then scale. Okay, so yeah, I've spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on Facebook ads in my lifetime. I just wanted to show you this screenshot to just show you that build up that needs to take place. Now, to get into the training. All right, so first I want to give you the roadmap on pretty much everything that I'm going to teach you in this next couple minutes, and then in the next slide I'm just going to go over what we're going to cover, and then we're going to get straight into it. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do here is I'm going to quickly touch on some stuff that you need to have in place before we actually get started. Now I have tons of videos on this channel breaking all of this up, so I'm not going to spend too much time there. Then we're going to go into finding the correct audience. Then we're going to go into testing and finding your ad copy variable. If any of this doesn't make sense at the moment, don't worry about it. That's what the rest of the training's about. Just to give you an idea, straight after that, we're going to go into beginning your initial testing and direct ad set breakdowns. Then when to kill your ad sets. Then we're going to get into scaling correctly and profitably, because in my opinion, scaling is not scaling unless you're making more money profit-wise. And then we're going to get into retargeting, which is where a lot of the profit is actually made. Straight after that, I'm going to get into launching the profit rocket. And that's a term that I literally just came up with for this whole training, which is essentially just how you can exponentially just increase that profit. And then at the end of it, I'm going to give you some action steps. Now, if you guys have been through any of these things before, you know that these action steps is usually where the person giving the presentation tries to sell you their course, or tries to say, oh, if you buy this tool and you do any of that. I don't have a course. I have no course. I'm not trying to sell you anything. Literally the only action steps, and I'll even give them to you now, is going to be to subscribe to this YouTube channel, because I put out a lot of content. And I'll give you an email address that you can send to me if you have any direct questions, and I'll get back to you that way. That's it. So I'm not trying to sell you anything. I'm very proud that I've put all this effort and work in that I've used over and over again for free. And yeah, so what we will be covering, how the Facebook ad exchange actually works. Now, if you don't know how the systems and stuff works behind Facebook, I'm going to go a little bit into that in the next slide. But I'd really recommend that you read a book called Chaos Monkeys. I forgot who the author is, but he was the guy that actually built the Facebook ad system, and kind of how the story of how it got put together and stuff. And it's not very tech focused, but it's still a good read. What does Facebook classify you as an individual? Because if you can understand that, it's going to be a lot easier to run proper ads. Creating custom made up audiences so no one else has access to it. All right. Stealing your competition's data. We're going to go into everything with lookalikes, when, what percentage, what budget, everything. Calculating your ROAS. Now, again, ROAS is a term which I have kind of come up with. It's essentially your break-even return on investment, and testing against it with budgets, breakdowns, and pretty much everything else. When to kill. We're also going to speak about Facebook recommending a bid to budget of 1 to 10 minimum. Now, there is a bit of maths in that. If you don't understand that or anything, don't worry, we will get into it. Scaling and manual bidding, and then ad fatigue, long-term ROAS, and final branding. That last one is really once you are doing multiple 6 figures per day and you want to start scaling and building proper brands. Okay, so don't worry if none of that made sense, we will get to it. So yeah, just moving into the first part of today's training, which is before you start. So before you start running your Facebook ads and really applying some of these concepts, these are just a few basic things that you need to have in place. You're going to need a Facebook page to run your ads through, and you're going to need a Facebook pixel installed. Now, I'm really focusing this training on just hardcore Facebook ads, profitably setting them up, scaling them, and optimizing them. So I'm not going to go into this basic stuff. However, I do have videos on my channel about the majority of those things, so you can go and have a look there. Some basic knowledge of Facebook ads. Pretty much with that, you just need to understand that you get your campaign, which is like your top tier, like a big box. Then in that box, you get ad sets, which are like little boxes. And then within all those boxes, you get the ads, which is the actual image and the videos. And that's kind of how Facebook has their setup. You need to have your custom columns set up. The default columns that Facebook gives you are great for little bits of analysis, but they're not optimized for dropshipping, and they're not optimized for e-commerce. So you definitely want to go ahead and set that up. I also have a video. You need to have Facebook payments enabled, and very, very important, because I see a lot of people skipping this. Please set the time zone for your ad account in Los Angeles. That's where Facebook's based, and you want to schedule your ads to start at the beginning of their time. Okay. Now you need to understand that Facebook is a bidding system, and Chaos Monkeys goes really, really deep into this. Essentially, it's just if one person is the right person to buy a product. So Facebook thinks that this person is most likely going to buy. Every advertiser is bidding to be in their feed. So really what you need to understand is you are placing a bid, and someone else is placing a bid, and that's happening across thousands of advertisers for one person. And whoever has the highest bid is the person that gets to see their ad, and then Facebook will charge them at that highest bid. So that's how behind the scenes, how the algorithm decides who sees what ads and stuff like that. And it's really only important once you get into your scaling, but even if you're not there yet, at least for interest's sake. Okay, so moving along into your audiences. Now, very, very important. I see a lot of people just rush in and just run ad sets and stuff. And guys, with this, you need to get it right from the beginning, because you don't want to be in a position where you're just spending a lot of money where you don't need to, because spending a lot of money on Facebook to skip steps like this goes into the thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. You see lots of these dropshippers and stuff who are like, oh, just target like worldwide and just be very broad and stuff. That's fine, it works if you have thousands of dollars to spend, because Facebook will just figure it out anyway. But this is really if you don't want to spend $4,000 without making profit. Okay. But just in the basics, Facebook lets you target based on demographics, interests, and behaviors. Now, a really, really simple way to understand this is just looking at your own Facebook profile and what does Facebook classify yourself as. So you can actually enter this link into your web browser, facebook.com/ad/preferences. I've already gone and done that. This is what it brought up for me. So in my personal profile, you can see that I'm interested in a whole lot of stuff according to Facebook. Now, the images with the flags, if you hover over them, you see Facebook will bring something up. So like there, when I hovered over it, it brought up software engineering, which is true. However, the reason why I want to show you this is you have to understand Facebook sometimes messes up. They're not perfect. So for example, it's showing that I'm interested in L'Oreal products. Right now, L'Oreal is a makeup, skincare, and hair brand. I'm not interested in them. I don't think I've ever bought a single product from them. The only reason that's there is a previous store of mine was actually in the women's health and beauty, and I was doing some research. But the key thing to understand there is you can see even some of these other things like Boots. Yeah, I would shop at Boots, but if they showed me an ad, like, it's not really going to be very relevant. So you need to understand that when you target an interest, it's Facebook's best guess, and it's not 100% perfect. Okay, now there's a really, really cool diagram I found that literally goes into why this is very, very important. Okay, so interest targeting. A lot of people go very, very broad and they just put in like the first thing that comes to their mind. And this is a really, really golden example that I found. So for example, let's say you are selling something golf related. I'm just using it as an example. Now, let's say you're trying to sell to passionate golfers. The first thing that comes into my mind, because I'm not a golfer, is Tiger Woods. He is world famous for golfing, okay? So if you target everyone who knows Tiger Woods, you're going to get this massive circle and massive audience. Now, let's think about that. Is that really the way that you want to be targeting? No, because I know about Tiger Woods, but I wouldn't buy golf products. So I might even fall into that big circle, all right? But that's not me. So if you narrow it down, this is where narrowing and flex targeting comes into it, and we'll get into that later. But if you narrow the people who like Tiger Woods down by Phil, okay, I don't even know who that is, but I did Google it. He's a really, really good golfer. Okay, now you're going to get people who, as you can see, there are casual golfers. Okay, so these are people who know a little bit more about it, they like it a little bit more, and they're a little bit more in depth. If you narrow it down by Bubba, that is now literally golf enthusiasts. Okay, only people who are incredibly interested in golf are going to know that. I don't even personally know that, so I don't know who he is, but I did Google it. Those people are the people that you want to be showing golf related products to. Okay, but the majority are not doing that. They're just targeting Tiger Woods, and then you're getting that much broader circle. Okay, so I hope that made a little bit of sense, just to explain why we need to be so focused on this. Okay. So, just two simple things that I think the majority are missing and just not using when it comes to Facebook ads. And for whatever reason, I don't know why, but common sense is the first thing. Okay, so literally, you need to understand certain things. So if you're trying to show makeup, to the most part, to middle-aged men, it's just not gonna work. Like, I don't know many 70-year-old men who are going to go and buy like lipstick and stuff. So you need to think about whatever your product is and just use a little bit of common sense. The other thing is your audience insights. You need to know your competition. You need to steal their data. You need to find some of the pages that can be scaled into, all right, with 1 million plus. And then you need to go deep into it. Right now, I'm going to dive into my Facebook Business Manager now, and I'm actually going to show you how you can go ahead and do this. Alright, so to get here, you just click those three little lines, and over here you're going to choose Audience Insights, and then when a pop-up comes up, you're going to choose Everyone on Facebook. And what this is going to allow you to do is really just dive into the data that Facebook has publicly, and how you can go ahead and really figure out who you want to target, who you should be targeting to get the most from your audience. Okay, so let's think. Let's say you want to sell some form of women's leggings or anything like that. Okay, now just to enter United States, you want to leave the age range pretty broad and the gender also very, very broad, because pretty much that's what we are trying to figure out. So you don't want to limit Facebook in any way. Right now, when it comes to interests, you're going to have to think of brands which are your competitors in your space who are a Facebook interest, so they need to have millions and millions of followers. So you need to think of the first brand that comes to mind when it comes to a competitor. So for women's leggings, we could think of maybe Gymshark. All right, that's a very, very big one in the gym and fitness industry. Okay, now if you look at this, I don't really take too much notice of this kind of information. It is really, really useful when you get to the scaling stage and you want to optimize your ads in like the most minute level. But for the beginning stage, especially the testing, it's not going to make much difference. What you're really looking for is stuff like this. Now, again, I said we want to sell women's leggings. So common sense, we're just going to show our ad to women. But if you were showing leggings in general, you may find it interesting to see that there is actually a pretty good split between men and women. So then that would indicate that, okay, you want to go both men and women and then run them against each other and see. But however, that won't always be the case. Now, pretty much from here, we can figure out that, okay, our age demographic is most likely going to be 18 to 34, especially because, as you can see, these blue bars are coming out of the gray ones. That means that it is a growing audience, and that's what you want. So if the blue bars are below the gray ones, I don't really recommend targeting them. You want to go for these exposed bars because it means that there is an exponential growth, which means you have the ability to scale. Okay, so that's really, really important. But location and activity, because we chose the United States, doesn't make much difference. The most important things, however, is if you click on page likes, you come down here and you choose see more. Okay, now, very, very important to see here, you are going to see your affinity score. Okay, now I'm trying to give you the most basic explanation of what an affinity score is. It's essentially the likelihood that someone who likes whatever interest you put in here, so Gymshark, also likes these different interests. Now, I'm not sure why Gymshark is coming up again, but Muscle Club Apparel makes sense. Blender Bottle, it's actually a really, really nice example. So you would have seen those blender bottles on Facebook. That was a dropshipping product doing phenomenally well. So if you were to flip this in reverse, you could probably target Gymshark, okay, as an interest if you were selling your blender bottle, all right, because you can see that, and vice versa. So for us, we're trying to sell women's leggings, okay, so we're in Gymshark. Now, blender bottle is a very, very, very big incentive buy. So people just tap and buy, okay, it's an actual product, which is the best example I could give to you because it's got a fairly high affinity score, it's got a decent size audience, and it is related to Gymshark. So if we were selling leggings, we won't just go after Gymshark, we would actually target blender bottle. And you can scroll through all of these and, you know, just pick out them. I generally would not go for anything with an audience size below 500,000. The only reason I would say blender bottle is just because your audience would be very, very high quality. And I would not go for anything under an affinity score of about 300. Okay, 200 to 300, that is the criteria that I would use. All right, so let's just continue. All right, so the last thing that I want to mention here is you need to go very deep into your audience research targeting. It's not a 5 to 10 minute job, okay? If you want this to work, you need to really put in time to choose those proper interests that, you know, not everyone else is targeting. That's what separates the ability to make money on Facebook without spending an absurd amount of money initially to build up that data. You rather want to build up high quality data than just build up a lot of data and then try and filter through it, okay? Moving on. The next thing is, before we actually start targeting, we want to find the best ad copy. The ad copy is the creative, so that is the image and the video. And this is probably the step that I see people skipping the most, and it's such a vital step, but what I would recommend is come up with 3 separate videos. Now, I always recommend running video ads, never run image ads. The reason being, Facebook lowers the CPM on videos because they're trying to compete with YouTube, etc. The engagement on videos is also a lot higher, and obviously people respond to video more than pictures. So I would always recommend just going with videos, and you want to do 3 separate videos. Now, when I say 3 separate videos, it's essentially the most important that the first 4 to 5 seconds of every single video is different. Because when you scroll through Facebook in an ad, the ad plays automatically, so it's really just that first couple seconds which captures the attention, and that's what you're chasing after, so those need to be different. Okay, now with this, we really just want to see which ad has the most engagement and which one is capturing the most attention. We are not trying to make sales here. Very important. you should not be profitable on this, okay? Not at all. So because of that, we're going to go very, very broad and very, very worldwide. So what I do is I'd run a PPE, which is a paid post engagement. So when you choose your objective for this campaign, you want to choose paid post engagement. Okay, I would just run a $10 a day ad set. There will be one ad set for each ad, so a total of 3 ad sets for the 3 videos. Just run it at $10 a day. Pretty much just target everyone in the world. Except for the ages and demographics. Go off your audience research, but just target everyone, so no interest, just the age and the demographic, so male, female should be filled in. And I would just run this for 2 days. At that point you should have enough data. Then you want to compare your cost per engagement, cost per click, and cost per add to cart. Okay, now obviously you want to look at the top funnel, which is the add to cart. That would be the best one to compare. But if you don't have any add to carts, then compare your cost per clicks, and then otherwise compare your cost per engagement. Now, it's very, very important that you create these ads in your page posts. So to do that, on Facebook, you're going to click those 3 dots like I showed you previously. Just go to page posts and create them there. And the reason for that is you want to gather the social proof, which is the likes and the comments and the shares, so that when you do put it in ad sets to make money, you know, it already is there. Now, another way to do this is you can go ahead and buy likes and stuff for ads. I may make a separate video on that, but definitely at the end of this, send me an email if that's something that you have thought about, and I can give you a little bit more advice on how to do that successfully. But anyway, after you have chosen your winning video, okay, so you should kill 2 out of the 3 and just have one that is doing the best. You want to wait till it gets about 100,000 views. Now, that might sound like a lot, but because you're just targeting extremely broadly and you're doing paid post engagement, it's probably going to get there after like $25 or so. It's going to be really, really cheap. What you then want to do is create your first lookalike, and you want to create it of 95% viewership. So people who have viewed 95% or more of your video, and you just want to create your first lookalike audience of that. Now, I know a lot of you may already know what a lookalike audience is, so I'm going to try and be really, really quick, but if you don't, I'm just going to explain it. So essentially a lookalike audience is this. On the left you have all your customers, which you upload into Facebook. In this case, it is the people that watch 95% of your video that Facebook will be tracking for you all the time. Okay, you essentially upload that into Facebook. Facebook then goes and matches that data with everyone else on Facebook to try and find people who have a similar digital signature. So it means they have similar interests, they similar buyers activities, they have similar demographics in terms of age, location, everything like that. And then it will produce a lookalike audience, which is essentially a list of people who are very similar in their ways, their interests, etc. to your previous people. Okay, that's the first thing. Now, don't do anything with that audience yet. In the next couple of steps, I'm going to show you how we can begin your testing and actually make use of it. But it is important to create it at this stage, because now you have a choice. You can either let that PPE ad continue running, or what I would do is maybe just kill it and rather spend more of the budget in your actual testing. Okay, so here's the thing. The first thing here with your testing is you want to create as many ad sets as possible. Okay, you want to link all of it to the old ad that you ran. So that's why I said you need to make it in page post to gather the social proof. But the answer to how many ad sets should I create, because I know a lot of people ask me that, it's just on your budget. So we'll get down into the specifics now, but depending on your budget is how many ad sets you should create. Always the most you possibly can. I would generally shoot for about 10 on your first day. Okay, test your 95% viewers LLAs. Okay, so this is where the first ad set that you're going to run is the lookalike audience. So by the way, LLA stands for a lookalike audience that we created in the previous slide. Now, how you're going to do this is you're going to create 3 lookalike audiences. You're going to create a 1 to 2%, a 2 to 5%, and a 5 to 10%. So again, you can see that they are fairly broad because we don't actually have that much data. And in those 3 lookalikes, we're going to be targeting the US, the UK, Canada, Australia, and New Zealand. Essentially, it's the big 5, so the top 5 English-speaking countries. okay? And you're gonna let that ad set run. Now, find which interests work from your research. So from your research that I showed you previously, those are the interests that you're gonna put in. However, this is how you're going to structure it. For the location, at this point, you're gonna choose all ePacket countries. Okay, now down below, you'll be able to download this entire slideshow, and it will also come with a list of the ePacket countries. It's also for free, you don't have to pay anything, just hit the download link there, and you'll be able to get that list. You're going to do flex targeting, so you're going to do one interest per ad set. So remember we spoke about the Tiger Woods, you can narrow them down, but you don't want to have like 4 or 5 different interests stacked on top of each other. Okay, your age range and your gender should be based off your research and your common sense. You want to choose English all, just because a lot of these ePacket countries, most of them are primarily English speaking, but they do have a very strong second language, so you just want to be sure and choose English. At this stage, you only want to be running on the Facebook and Instagram feed. Okay, now just some specifics. You either want to set it at $10, $20, or $50 per day. Now, $10 is just going to mean that it's going to take longer to build up that data. $50 per day just means that you're going to build that data a lot quicker, so you're going to be able to get sales quicker, so you're going to be able to scale quicker. There is a bit of a debate because Facebook can usually take about 3 days to optimize. So maybe go for the $20. If you have the budget, go for the $50. Here's the thing. Facebook recommends a bid to budget of 1 to 10. So if your CPC is $15, your ad set budget should be at least $150 to optimize. Okay, so let me explain that a little bit more. Let's say, for example, that you have a product and its cost is $10 and its profit is $5. You're 1 to 10, you want to take that $5, multiply it by 10, you're going to get 50, and that is going to be your daily budget for that ad set. So in this case, if your cost, so your cost per click is $15, if that is how much you're going to need to just make enough profit, you're going to multiply it by 10, get 150, and that is going to be your daily budget. So obviously if you do high ticket products where your cost to ratio with your profit is much higher, your daily ad spend will be higher. Okay, if that makes sense. That's Facebook recommendations. Sometimes you want to do a 1 to 12. That's more or less what I do because I want to build data quicker, but 1 to 10 is what they recommend. What's your BEP? Your BEP is your break-even point, which is essentially just your selling price minus your cost price. Okay, any ad set that kind of goes way over that without any little bit of engagement, you want to kill. Okay, we'll get into it just now, but that's a good indicator that it's not working. Learning phase. So when you first start an ad set, remember Facebook is learning. In order to learn, it needs 50 conversions over 5 days. So a $5 ad set per day is not going to learn properly. What that means is if you're spending $5 a day, over 7 days, that's $35. Okay, so for $35 worth of ads, you need 50 conversions for Facebook to optimize. Now, it is very difficult to get 50 purchases on $35, even if you're selling an extremely cheap product. And that's why I don't recommend $5 ad sets like I know a lot of people do. Previously, it used to work. The way Facebook is set up at the moment, it just doesn't. Okay, so take that as you will. All right. Then you want to keep testing every single day with new ad sets. So I would try different angles, new ad sets, everything every single day. What you can do is initially just want to go against the interest, but if you see an interest is working, you can narrow it down by engaged shoppers or online shopping, and that will create a new interest for you. Remember, you need to scale and give Facebook room to work. So what this means is when you're looking at your audiences, I would only choose audiences which are 5 million plus, because number one, if that is a successful audience, you're going to be able to scale into it. And number two, your smaller audiences have a higher CPM. Make use of your breakdown tab. So again, I see a lot of people not using this. I'm not sure if they don't know that it's there or they don't understand it. But it's very important that you do make use of it. And you're going to use that to find new ad sets with bigger audiences. Okay, so just to show you, when you're in your Facebook Ads Manager, you're going to click that breakdown tab there. You see it says columns, Courtne, and then next to it there's the breakdown. I generally focus on the age to gender, the country, and then the platform and device. Those are the three things that I will break down, and I will see which ones are working and then duplicate the ad set, okay, make the adjustment and then compare it to the old one. And then if the new one is doing much better than the old one, then I'll cut the old one and let the new one just run. Okay, that's how I would go about breaking down. And this is really optimizing. So you're going from this massive audience to this narrow audience, which makes a lot more sense for you and your product. All right, so the very next thing is when to kill. So, you know, you're running all these ad sets, you're spending all this money, you're gathering all this data. When do you know when is the correct time to kill an ad set which doesn't look like it's working? Okay, so I would calculate your break-even ROAS. And to do this, you basically just say your product sale price divided by, in brackets, your product sale price minus your product cost. And that will give you your break-even ROAS. And if you see any ad sets which are going below that break-even ROAS after they've ran for about 3 days, then kill them. Okay. Analyze over 5 days, kill ad sets under your ROAS. Again, I said your ROAS is your break-even ROAS. Now I put 5 days here. 3 to 5 days, like I said, is probably a bit more general, especially if you don't have a very, very big budget. Now, keep in mind, break-even cold traffic can become profitable with retargeting. So if you're running an ad set and it's just breaking even, so it's just hitting your ROAS, all right, so it's not profitable. Remember that it can become very profitable if you also start running retargeting ads. So don't just kill ads if they're just breaking even. Remember that you are investing and buying data. And this is a long process that I think people just don't understand. But when you're running Facebook ads, you are running to buy data. You are gathering data that is going to allow you to make money. So initially, your ad sets are not going to be profitable, like I showed you in the beginning. That's something that, you know, take it as you will, but I would recommend just keeping it in mind. Okay, the next thing is scaling. Now, I put this fairly big there. This is where the money is made. You know, we've been talking about all this testing and stuff. You're not going to make that much money there. This is where the money is made in scaling. Okay, I would recommend scaling incrementally. Okay, so remember your ad set budget should be at least 10 times your product cost. We've gone over that already. But if you have an ad set running at $10, I wouldn't immediately put it at like 50. All right, you want to increment it, so go from 10 to 20, from 20 to 250, from 20 to 50, sorry, from 50 to $200. When you are at $200 a day and it's still profitable, then you want to duplicate it to 500 and start using manual bidding. Now, this is when you are really starting to get into fully optimized, fully scaling, and this is where, you know, this is when you can get excited. Now, manual bidding sounds very scary and very complicated and stuff, but it essentially is just setting a maximum bid cap for a product. Okay, now this is what Facebook recommends. Your CPP is your cost per purchase, which is that break-even amount. You want to just 3 times that amount and set that as your maximum bid cap initially. Then as you start going through it, and this is a little bit more advanced, but as you start building data and as you start rolling through it, you want to slowly bring down that maximum bid. Okay, but start higher and move down. And then the $50 to the $200 will be the same thing with your manual bidding. Now, the next thing is retargeting. Now, 2 things about retargeting is this is where the majority of your profit is made. You can have amazing ad sets running, but they are, after all, cold interests, and people generally need to see something about 8 times before they will buy. That's just the statistic. So retargeting is really always going to be your most profitable ad sets and your most profitable results. And I would retarget all the funnel actions. So just to go over it, your funnel is pretty much your view content, add to cart, initiate checkout, and then purchase. So I would target everyone who has viewed the content but not added to cart, everyone who has added to cart but not initiated checkout in the last 7 days, everyone who has initiated checkout but not purchased, and everyone who has viewed content, okay, in the last 30 days but hasn't viewed the content in the last 7 days or purchased yet. Then Also 75% video viewers in the last 30 days, excluding your purchases. Keep in mind, this 75% video viewers is on your cold interest targeting, not on your PPE that you ran earlier. Okay. Dynamic placements allow the ad to be seen everywhere, but make sure you have variations of content. What I mean by that is previously we chose just Facebook feeds and Instagram feeds for the cold interest. For retargeting, we want to really just give it to Facebook and just let Facebook show that ad everywhere they possibly can. So I would choose on automatic placements or dynamic placements, which means Facebook will literally put the ad wherever they think it is best. The only thing here is you need to make sure you give Facebook the correct content. So make sure you give them the video, make sure you give them an image and all the different dimensions that they need. And a dynamic product ad works really, really well. So this is an example, you would have seen it a few times, of a dynamic product ad. Essentially, it's also really easy to set up. Essentially, it just shows them based on which variant of the product they chose. That will be the first image that they see, and then they can scroll to the others. Okay. At this point, we are launching what we call the profit rocket. And this is really, this is the excitement part of Facebook ads. This is where, you get to sit back and say, wow, I'm actually making some money now. So at this point, you should have ads getting consistent optimization events. And optimization events are purchase, add to cart, and initiate checkout. So it's time to start pushing your lookalike audiences. So your purchase value based. So this is, remember, we did 95% viewers. Now we're going to do everyone who has purchased their product. This is the top tier of Facebook. It's the top of the funnel, and it actually has the most value in it. So I would create that, same as we did previously for the big 5 countries, the 1 to 2%, 2 to 5, and 5 to 10% for purchase. Also for the top 25% visitors by time spent. So everyone who's come to the store, you want to do the people who have spent the most time on the store, the top 25%. And then again, just your 95% video viewers. You're going to come up with all those lookalikes, and I would put them at whatever budget has been working for you in your cold interest and just let them run, and they should be very, very profitable. Now, the next slide is probably one of the most important ones, just a little bit that I think people look over, is how to be consistent over extended periods. Because if you implement this strategy, I promise you guys, and you actually follow through with it, you will start getting results. You will start making sales. So really the trick is not making sales, it's making sales every single day, day in and day out and day out. That's where the big kind of, I guess, struggle with Facebook ad comes. So first thing that you need to understand is your ROAS is linked to ad fatigue. If you run an ad for a very, very long amount of time, your ROAS, which is your return on ad spend, is going to come down. So to combat this, I would recommend that you create a video per month. You watermark every single video. So the way you can do this is you want to get a big logo and put it about 20 to 30% opacity, which means it's a bit transparent, and just try and put it either at the top or in the middle of your video. Reason being is we are all dropshippers. We will steal. You've seen it all the time where people just steal other people's ads, and if someone who you're trying to market to sees your ad multiple times, they're not going to buy from you. So by doing that, it's kind of harder to steal the ad. So you want to do that, and then just understand that if you run an ad for a long time, Facebook will raise your CPM because they don't want to show their users the same thing over and over and over again. And that is how you can stay consistent for months at a time with a single product. Okay, so that pretty much brings the end to this training that I put out. Again, there's so much value in here. Like, if you haven't been involved in e-commerce a while, you might look at this and just say that's cool. But if you have and you've been struggling, I genuinely think that this can really, really help you. So yeah, again, I'm just very, very proud I can make it for free. So these are some action steps that I would like you to take after this, and I think is going to be beneficial to you. The first is subscribe to this channel. So I create videos every single day about, e-commerce, entrepreneurship, making money online, Facebook ads in general. Also, down below, this is the first video that will have this link into it, but I've just created a private Facebook group. When I say private, I have to accept you, but it's completely for free. And really that will just be to engage in the community and ask some questions where I can answer and stuff like that. Comment down below which section you are struggling with the most, and I'll respond with a custom tip. So, we've gone over tons and tons of stuff. If you're just struggling with retargeting, or you're just struggling with lookalikes, or you're just struggling with your initial cold interest, just drop it down below in the comments, and then I'm going to go back and give you some more advice or some more tips just related to that particular section. Obviously, I don't want to make this video too long. The other thing is email me for direct help, questions, and that list of e-packet countries. So there's the email. It's just my name, Courtne@CourtneMarland.com. Like I said, I don't have a course or anything, so don't ask me that. But if you have any questions that you have, or anything that you didn't understand, or anything like that, just send me an email and I will try and get back to you as soon as I can. And then the last thing that I just want to make before I end this is this entire presentation. So pretty much all of these slides with all this information on and some extra stuff is available down below, again in the description. You just have to click the link, just have to enter your email, and then what will happen is I will send you a link in your email to download all of this. Again, 100% for free. You don't have to enter a nickel into this to get it. It's just for free value. And otherwise, just again in the comments, just let me know if you have applied this and you come back to the video after a long time. Let me know how it's been working out for you. But otherwise, guys, I hope to see you in every other single video that I put out. Keep working on your Facebook ads, and I hope you have a good and profitable year.